Jake loved the city at night. The hum of traffic, the glow of neon signs against the dark sky. It was a symphony of urban chaos, and he was the conductor, steering his taxi through the concrete jungle. Years of driving had etched every street corner, every shortcut into his memory. He knew the city's rhythm like the back of his hand. Another fare, another story. Tonight, the air crackled with a strange energy. Rain threatened to fall but held back, shrouding the city in a humid haze. Jake's radio sputtered out a bluesy tune as he pulled up to a dimly lit corner. A figure emerged from the shadows, hailing him with a wave.
"Downtown, please," the man said, his voice a familiar baritone. Jake nodded, catching a glimpse of the man in the rearview mirror. His heart stuttered. Staring back at him was a face he knew, his own. The man in the back was his doppelganger. Same unruly brown hair, same tired eyes, even the same crooked smile that Jake saw every morning in the mirror. It was unsettling, like looking at a ghost of himself. He stole another glance in the rearview mirror, half expecting the image to vanish, but it remained solid and unnerving.
"You all right, driver?"
the man asked, his brow furrowed in concern. Jake cleared his throat, trying to shake off the disquietude.
"Yeah, you look awfully familiar is all."
The man chuckled, a low rumble that echoed strangely in the confined space of the taxi.
"I get that a lot."
The ride was a blur of flickering streetlights and awkward silence. Jake found himself stealing glances at his passenger, each time feeling a shiver crawl down his spine. It was like watching a stranger inhabit his life, his features.
"So, what do you do?"
The man hesitated.
"I'm a writer. Stories mostly. Fantastical, strange things."
Jake's grip tightened on the steering wheel. Writer. That was what he always dreamed of being, before life had steered him down a different path.
"Funny, always thought I'd write a book someday."
The man raised an eyebrow, a flicker of something unreadable in his eyes.
"And what stopped you?"
"Life, I guess. Responsibilities."
He told the man about his life, his dreams, his regrets. The words tumbled out, a torrent he hadn't realized he was holding back. And as he spoke, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was confessing to himself, baring his soul to a stranger who was not a stranger at all.
The man listened intently, his gaze unwavering.
And to Jake's surprise, there was no judgment in those familiar eyes, only understanding.
When Jake finished, the man simply nodded, a knowing smile playing on his lips.
"It's a strange thing, isn't it? The paths we choose, the lives we lead."
Jake found himself drawn to the man's words, to the eerie familiarity that hung between them. They talked about everything and nothing, their lives mirroring each other in ways that both fascinated and disturbed. It was as if they were two sides of the same coin, separated by an invisible barrier.
As they approached the man's destination, a sense of unease settled over Jake. He didn't want the ride to end, didn't want to let go of this strange connection he couldn't quite explain.
The man paid the fare, his touch lingering on Jake's hand for a moment longer than necessary. "It was good to meet you. Perhaps our paths will cross again."
He turned to leave, then paused, glancing back at Jake.
"You know, there are some who say that for every choice we make, another version of ourselves lives out the path not taken."
And with that, he was gone, melting into the night as quickly as he had appeared. Jake sat there for a long moment, the man's words echoing in his ears. A shiver ran down his spine, a mixture of fear and exhilaration.
He looked at his reflection in the rearview mirror, his own face staring back at him. Was it possible? Was there another version of himself out there, living the life he could have had?
The thought was both terrifying and strangely comforting.
He started the engine, the familiar rumble grounding him in the reality of the moment. But as he pulled away from the curb, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was leaving a part of himself behind.
The city lights blurred as he drove, each turn a question mark in the labyrinth of his thoughts. Was it all just a coincidence? A trick of the light and late-night fatigue? Or had he just encountered something more? A glimpse beyond the veil of everyday existence? Jake didn't have the answers, but as he navigated the city streets, one thing was certain: he wouldn't be looking in the mirror the same way again.